Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. We are now coming to the very exciting award ceremony. I'm Angela Basinger, and I'm a veterinarian working for MSD as the Animal Welfare Lead for North America. My passion for One Welfare comes from my lifelong interaction with animals. I grew up on a farm in the state of Missouri in the United States. My family raised beef cattle, swine, sheep, goats, plus layers and broiler chickens. We even raised catfish in floating cages in a small lake that we had on the farm. The farm also raised grain crops to feed all of those animals. I have observed and worked in extensive pasture units, in intensive livestock operations throughout my lifetime. This gives me the historical, the cultural, and the firsthand knowledge of many farm animal systems and managements. My veterinary career has blessed me with the opportunity to work primarily with food animals. At MSD, I work with producers, veterinarians, academics, NGOs, policy and legislative groups to help advance animal welfare. I first met Dr. Rebecca Pineos at the Swine Welfare Conference in the US in 2019. There I had the pleasure of introducing her and learn more about the One Welfare framework. This led me to pursue several studies that look at the interaction of people, animals within their environment. You may have seen my presentation yesterday looking at the emotional impact of mass depopulation of swine on veterinarians. The One Welfare platform is important. And as you've seen with all the presentations, everyone is starting to recognize this framework as a way to advance animal welfare and human welfare going forward. It is because of this that I'm really delighted to support those that are working under a similar umbrella in a holistic and multidisciplinary way. The One Welfare Science Slam Awards are sponsored by MSD because we want to invest in the leaders and the students that are the future leaders in advancing animal welfare and One Welfare. As the One Welfare Science Slam sessions had no Q&A, we want to use this ceremony to hear a bit further about the most awesome presentations that you've seen. But before moving on to the One Welfare Science Slam Session Awards, I would like to announce on behalf of the scientific committee, the winners for the oral and poster session awards. Those awards are sponsored by CABI and include a copy of the One Welfare Framework book, which you should all have. And you'll also get a great combo of a welfare book, and that should give you plenty to read and invigorate you going forward within your work. And without further delay, let me open the virtual envelope for the winner, actually, 2 winners of the poster awards. Okay, since there was a tie, we have 2 winners of the poster awards. The first one that I'm not reading them in any particular order, Perceptions on the Replacement of Working Equids by Mechanized Vehicles in Colombia by Jessica Burridge at the University of Nottingham, UK. And the second winner, Control of Animal Population Experiences, Control Outdoor Cats in Bogota by Jose Alexander Estepa Becerra at the my Spanish is horrible, Unigariari in Colombia. So congratulations to both of you. We look forward to seeing how those studies, how those projects progress. So now I would like to move on to the oral session. The oral session winner, there's one. The oral session award winner was Animal Assisted Education for Primary School Children in the Time of COVID by Kathy Chow, University of Hong Kong. Congratulations. Your work was amazing. I learned a lot from the methods that you're using, and I look forward to learning more about it in the future. Congratulations. Now, we're going to move to the One Welfare Science Slam Session Awards. And without further delay, we have not 3 places, so first, second, and third. We have a tie for 2 that are in second place and 1 first place. So what I would like to do is, without delay, okay, now I will introduce them and then ask some questions. Plus, if you have questions, please enter them so that we can ask those questions of our winners as well. The first second place winner that I will introduce had the presentation entitled One Welfare for the Andean Bear, Perspectives from Colombia. And this is Leonardo Ares Bernal from the Untitled, Colombia. Congratulations, Leonardo. So Leonardo, please tell us a bit more. You stated that the bear was an umbrella species, a species that if it was doing well, the people and the environment are doing well. So can you tell us a bit more about being an umbrella species?
Claro que sí. Hola, muchas gracias a todos.
Yes, of course I will. Well, thank you for the award. It has been a pleasure to be part in this kind of awesome sessions. I have my little friend with me. He is actually the one of the birds that we had. And we've been working with communities, and we've been trying to protect the health of the community in a park, Chingasa, near Bogota. This is a project led by a group of biologists and researchers that are moving along this park, trying to have this interaction with the people that live there or nearby. So we've been working, creating awareness campaigns, trying to create different dynamics with the population, trying to work on the health studies, and to understand those domestic species that are interacting with wild animals. So thank you very much for the award.
Very nice. So tell me as well, is there anything from your project, your research, that you didn't have time to tell us about during your during your presentation earlier?
Sí, claro que sí. Sí,
Well, yes, of course. Well, some of the findings have been very interesting. We have been checking some of the diseases circulating among these wild birds and the interaction with some of the inhabitants in the area. For example, how in one way or another, through these awareness campaigns, we've helped the different areas, because there has been a reduction in the number of attacks to animals and from animals. Therefore, we've been working in this direction. This is an ongoing project. We will keep on working with the animals, trying to track them, to tag them. But it's true that through the pandemic, we had to take a break. And now we are slowly going back into the research field. And hopefully in 2 years, we'll have 70% of the park completely covered.
Thank you. Great answer. Good information. And
thank you very much.
I will go ahead and announce the other second place presentation. The second place presentation was the dog and cat meat trade, a potential source for future pandemics, by Karan Crueja and Alex Montoro. And at this time, I would like to have both of you on screen so that I can ask you some questions as well.
We're here.
Good. So tell me, what made you pursue this project? I know you talked a little bit about it in your presentation, but what drew you? What's your passion behind this project?
I think it's fairly easy to answer that one. I guess you've seen our presentation and the horrifying images, and it's pretty clear that we want to put an end to this. So both from an organizational point of view, from for Pause Directly, but also from a personal, emotional point of view, we're committed to ending this this trade once and for all. And just, I guess, just the horrors that those animals endure throughout the entire process are enough to motivate us, not to mention everything else that we said also in the poster and in the presentation about the impact on all levels that make up this one welfare concept. So it's a really, really easy question to answer. We just want an end to it.
So with that in mind, what are your next steps toward trying to end this situation?
I'll let Karan answer that because he's handling the political and the campaigning part of the project.
So this is one of my motivations, my own pet dogs and cats. But as Alex said, the suffering is extreme. The welfare issues are extreme. And we do feel that this is part of making a better world for animals and for people. The next steps are we are regularly engaging with government. We're also engaging on international platforms to talk about bringing out the risk, to talk about the risk for the trade. And we are, so we're engaging with government. We also do regular activities such as work to get provinces dog and cat meat free. So we got a major province in Cambodia to ban dog meat, and we've had lots of momentum. We've got exciting announcements coming up with more localities, and basically we want to really bring a scientific basis, bring the scientific community on board with this campaign, and we are very confident that working together with the help of the community, with the help of governments, that we'll be able to end the trade.
That's very admirable. That's because I've studied a bit about the trade, and I was really interested when you were presenting. Are there any efforts, or are you looking at, I'm sure you are, any efforts toward trying to start to change behavior through education within the different cultures?
Yes, we do work on mobilizing the public and working with the public. We do put out messages quite regularly, both about the cruelty involved in the trade and about the health risks of the trade. And we also reach out to dog meat owners, to dog and cat meat consumers. We also have worked in the past, and we still continue to work with people who work in the trade on livelihood conversions. And we're also getting the government on board with this. So we are seeing more and more. We did a survey 2 years ago that had 6% of people regularly ate dog meat in Vietnam. We did a more recent survey and the number has gone down. So I think as the message gets out and as people are more conscious, the pandemic has helped bring into focus how what happens with animals really affects us. And that has helped bring that consciousness. And we're starting to see that people are more conscious of this. And there's more of a sentiment against the trade in the countries that we're working.
I only have one more question. What's your dog's name?
Micah. This is Micah. She's 3 years old. She's a former street dog. And yeah, I often, when I'm working on this, I look at her and I think, you know, all those dogs and cats are just like, I also have 2 cats. They're just like you. And at the end of the day, I don't want any dog to go or cat to go through that suffering.
Yeah, she's beautiful. So congratulations. Well done for our second place winners. And just so you know, MSD has provided a small financial reward. I went and got my Monopoly money out so I could show you. Each of you will be receiving $250 for your presentations that you gave during the conference. So congratulations.
Thank you very much to the organizers and to the conference and MSD.
Thank you. Okay, so without further delay, I want to announce the first place our slam winner. So, in first place, with the presentation entitled "Coal Mines and Their Equids in Pakistan: An Opportunity to Platform a One Welfare Approach," Syed Abbas from the Brook, Pakistan. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So I have some questions.
Sure.
If you had any opportunity whatsoever to further this research, what would you do? Or further this program?
Thank you for this question. You know, this study has not brought all the answers, but it helped us to answer many queries to understand why we need one welfare approach. And if we, whenever we get another chance, we would like to study that if human beings are not being provided services for their welfare, what are the key obstacles behind that? And if animals are not being provided the services that they require, we will go into further details to to identify the obstacles that we may further work on that. And we know some of the stakeholders who are involved and who can respond in this, and we have mentioned in this research. So the study can be further enhanced to understand how and why they will be willing to support this inclusive one welfare approach.
I really appreciate that the information you brought out about the living environment of both the animals and the people. Is there, what type of educational programs are you trying to develop for this to further your project?
We are working in this area since for some time, and we have been working in the past with the animal owners who own these animals. We have our focus on the animals, but we understand with the passage of time that welfare of an animal is directly dependent on the welfare of its owner, because both work together in the same environment. And if owner is getting the appropriate wages and his health and welfare is appropriately looked after, he and she must be in a position to offer something better to the animal. So we found that the welfare of the animal owner is dependent on certain other factors, like there are government institutes that are providing free of cost services to the human beings. We identified that those services are not being provided over there. Then we found that there are coal mine owner association, who are the rich people who own these mines. They have their contributions. Ideally, they have their contribution which need to be there, but not fully there. Then there is a livestock department that basically is supposed to provide services to the animals. So now we have, initially, as I mentioned, that we are working with the owners, and we are working with the service providers like the farriers, the settlers, the local animal health service providers, and we are building their capacity and linking them with that community. But now we have a plan, and we have already started our discussions and dialogues with the three key pillars, like the government ministries with the relevant with the humans, and the ministry relevant with the animals, and the labor union. So these are the new plans.
Very nice. So as the big winner at the One Welfare Conference, what advice would you give to other people that want to present their information in future One Welfare conferences? What advice?
I feel that there are strong linkages. We found very strong linkages between the welfare of human, animal, and the environment linkages, especially human and animal welfare. So my suggestion will be, we go and study those relationships in a neutral way and come up with some of the key recommendations, not the extra details, which I actually found a suggestion from my colleague, that go with the concrete suggestions and the key findings and the recommendations, so that everybody can understand at a larger scale the core relationship of this concept, and so that we can enhance the collaboration, and we can actually the study is to support and share the evidences, so that the policymakers and the decision makers can take right decisions for the one welfare. So these studies and presentations can help if we bring suitable information and present it in a way that everybody can easily understand.
I agree. That's excellent advice. I appreciate that. And as you know, because you are the first place winner, you win $1,000. And it won't be just Monopoly money. And so what are you going to do with your prize? I know it's not enough to probably go to Disneyland, but what are you going to do?
Honestly speaking, haven't thought about it yet.
That's okay. We understand. So with that, I would like us all to give our winners the virtual round of applause for all their hard work, their excellent presentations, and the information that they provided us. Thank you very much. And I do want to thank the organizational committee, because this One Welfare Conference has been amazing. And now I will turn it over to Dr. Rebecca.
Thank you very much, Angela. It's been a really exciting award ceremony, and thank you to all of you. I think your presentations and many other presentations have been excellent. We have been impressed, really impressed with the response we had for this conference. So it's a real pleasure to actually see that all these connections that you mentioned, Naeem, that are being studied by many universities, by many researchers, that there are groups that are actively working to implement them in different countries at the international level, and that there are also colleagues in policy that are also working actively to implement it. So I think it was really great to see representation across many different levels of how the world functions. So we had academia, we had NGOs, we had researchers, we had policymakers. So we have a very good mix, and we had industry representatives as well, of course, Angela. So we had a great mix of representatives at the conference, and I think that really is showing how powerful the One Welfare, not conference, but the actual concept is becoming. So that is really great. So I think we are a few minutes early, but I think we will carry on and go straight into the closing act, if that's okay. So I would like to invite my colleagues from former conferences, Dale, Duma, and Anne Quain, to join me on the screen. And basically they are going to join me in the closing act, because I thought we are starting to become a global family. So it's really nice to see. We were asking in the little break where we were all having a rest, we were asking our time zones. And basically you have been seeing people that we are all in complete different time zones. So we are in 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 9 p.m., 9 a.m. It's completely chaotic and crazy, but it's really amazing that we can all be joined together in this way. So I think even though the pandemic has had many negative effects, there are also very positive effects, which we really need to appreciate and value. So I have prepared a small presentation just to make sure that I didn't forget anything I wanted to say. And what I will do is I will share my screen so you can all see it with me. It has been a very exciting 2 days, very emotional as well for me at personal level, because of course I have been working on this for a very long time. And yeah, so basically it's a little presentation on the closing act. And we have seen in this conference the 6 different themes, which perhaps is a little unusual because we've covered a huge range of topics, going from the link to the social implications of animal welfare, which range from all sorts of different topics, from dog breeding to working animals, to livelihoods. We even covered gender issues and equality, which is again something that is not often discussed in the context of animal welfare and well-being, but it is very relevant, as we have heard from some of our speakers. We've also discussed farm animals, which I think many of the interconnections are much more discussed and obvious. And of course, that was the session where we received the most communications. So that was quite interesting to see. And it was interesting to see that across that first day, in the first team, we didn't really receive so many communications. So the topic of the link still was a little bit less popular than other topics. And then we had the other 3 themes, which we covered today. So we carried on with the One Welfare Framework. So the theme for the One Welfare Framework was our last theme today, covering assisted interventions. And it's really great to see that there are initiatives already happening in policy and implementation level, and that there is a lot of effort around the world to try to start working on standards, on basic standards to cover not just the human aspects, but also the animal aspects. So it's really nice to see that joint approach is developing, is starting to be written down and discussed and shared between each other, which is also important. On theme 5, we've seen a lot of discussion about sustainability, biodiversity, and still the challenges that many countries are facing with poaching and illegal wildlife trade, which connects to our one of the winners, no? But it's really key to actually pay attention to those initiatives. And it was really nice to hear from our keynote speaker there how that is being brought into supporting the communities as well. And very powerful messages came that it's not just enough to ban and stop, but you also need to find alternatives to replace that livelihood and those methods of living if you truly want it to stop. And then we had the special session on One Welfare and COVID, and it was really refreshing to hear from our keynote speaker from Singapore the efforts they are making to try to bring nature into the cities and to try to maintain that balance that we are starting to lose in many places, and that is really, really affecting us. So I will explain no more because we will cover a little bit in more detail the 2 days. We had amazing OWSM sessions, and I wanted to pause here because for me, this was really something new. And for those of you that know me, you know that I like innovation and I like new things, and I always like to try what is new. And for me, when I saw a science slam, not in animal welfare, but on different topics, I thought that was really fun, it really amazing. And as Naim said, it really could help to communicate topics that sometimes are quite challenging and quite hard. So I thought that would be quite interesting to bring it to the One Welfare concept and to try to encourage all of you to present your work in a very attractive way so people can really understand the actual challenges in those interconnections. And I was really pleased to see very brave researchers that have been bringing a lot of different ways to present the topic. So that was really refreshing to see, and I hope that you all have enjoyed the OWSM sessions, not just making them. I know some of you had a lot of fun when you were doing your presentation, singing or doing something else, but also listening then. And I hope they break up a little bit that formal presentation mode that we usually see in conference. So I thought that could be something to refresh a little bit the way we present and try to think also about our communication style in research and evidence and how we transfer that to others. And then I would like to invite my colleagues, Dale and Anne, to come in and Dale is going to cover a few key summary points from the conference from the first day. So I will hand over to you, Dale, if that's okay.
Sure. So yes, I've been assigned to try and summarize a full day of sessions, which is always a challenge. So I'll admit right up front that probably I'm not going to do justice to it. So go back and watch all the sessions. But what a couple days it's been. Congratulations to everybody who's been involved. Yesterday, we started with a discussion on how One Welfare fits with the European Union Animal Welfare Farm to Fork framework. Then in the first session, there was a lot of time focused on the interplay of animals and humans and the environmental implications of those relationships. And we had a special focus on working equids throughout that session. Clearly identified the interconnectedness of the relationships and the impacts each factor has on each other. There's certainly still challenges to wrestle with, including the environmental and the economic impacts, and the importance of the human perception of the value of these animals. One compelling example being that of the trade of donkey skins internationally. The second session focused on agricultural and food development aspects of One Welfare, and it's a topic that's close to my heart in the work that I do. Certainly sustainable food systems with consideration of climate change impacts require careful assessment and optimization of future management. Further development of production systems that meet local realities, that support the population needs for food while protecting the environment and the needs of the animal. It's not simple, and there are certainly regional factors that must be considered as we work through these challenges. Now, the psychosocial impacts of critical events such as transboundary disease or supply chain interruptions, such as those that were realized during the current pandemic, they have significant effects on all those within the system, regardless of if you're human or animal. Ongoing research on the psychological impacts and the distress connected with depopulation actions need to be seriously considered. And whenever possible, building resilience into the agri-food production system, it's an effort that's certainly worthwhile. The third session focused on the connection between animal and human abuse and neglect. Evidence continues to grow, showing the connection between these tragic situations and the impact on those most vulnerable. Thankfully, we have people willing to do this work in these traumatic fields, and we now have some additional knowledge to assist with knowing how to best engage most effectively when we get directly connected with these situations. Across these sessions, it was clear that partnering and collaboration is a key element to implementing One Welfare. A multidisciplinary approach is needed, and now we have more evidence that this is possible and that it works in different environments, regardless of species, location, cultural differences. Funding these collaborations and research into measuring some of the outcomes seem key to improving animal, human, and environmental benefits. Some studies reflecting gender-related impacts were very interesting and require further attention under the One Welfare lens to ensure that the right population segments are addressed and taken care of. So overall, when I was looking over this day and over the event, it really hit me that One Welfare is still a relatively novel concept. While the fields of animal welfare, human well-being, environmentalism, they're all well known and they're worthy topics of their own right. One Welfare most fully expresses itself when these issues are fully integrated in a manner that optimizes the outcomes for all. In order to accomplish sustainable change, it's vital that all aspects of these important issues are considered, along with the political, economic, and social factors that impact and are impacted by each one of these factors. The concept of struggling holistically with the difficult interconnected challenges is not one for the faint of heart, and getting traction for this approach was not a simple endeavor. In 2016, when we hosted the first event, the concept of One Welfare really needed to be explained to the people that were being invited to the event, even though they very quickly latched on and became One Welfare advocates and leaders internationally. At the same time that we were working on the initial conference, Rebecca and others across the world were working to gain momentum in their own regions. And so when I look around and consider the last couple of days here and all the excellent work that's been done, I just find it so encouraging and exciting to see that now there's so many people that not only understand One Welfare, but are actively engaged in studying and working to improve the outcomes of One Welfare challenges within their communities and across the world. This is exactly what's needed to realize sustainable change while unifying our world, rather than what so unfortunately is a competitive approach when you focus on an individual factor as opposed to a holistic approach. So I'd like to thank each one of you for your engagement this week, and especially yesterday, which was the day I'm supposed to be summarizing here. But even more so, I'd like to thank each one for their One Welfare contributions beyond this event. And I certainly look forward to the next One Welfare conference, where we can spread the word and hopefully come together in person to share some more developments within this exciting field. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Devin. Thank you for a great summary. And yeah, I think your challenges of getting the One Welfare concept initially were shared by many. And this was really one of the reasons why the One Welfare framework came up. Because for me, it was really a great way to explain how the One Welfare concept fits in different areas. And I think that has proven that many people understand One Welfare within their own niche, but they are really lacking that holistic vision many times. So the framework really helps people to understand that connection that happens in your very little area, actually it replicates in many other areas. And that framework, I think, has really opened up the One Welfare umbrella fully. So it has really spread the wings, which has been really great to see. But thank you, that was an excellent summary, Dale, and it's really challenging to capture all the things we discussed because there were so many. I was very, very impressed by everything. We have day 2 now, and I would like to invite Anne Fawcett to present briefly the key summaries from the second day. And over to you. I'm very happy to hand over to you.
Thanks, Rebecca, and thank you, Dale, for the great summary of day 1. So while not being able to travel to Burgos means I don't have jet lag, attending from home means I'm staying up well past midnight, so I have the lag without the jet. Well done to everyone who's managed to stay despite being in some pretty crazy different time zones. I hope that we can all soon repay our sleep debt. We began today learning about the challenge of rewilding urban spaces from Dr. Him Hu Yap, a process which has taken on more meaning for billions of people in the light of the COVID pandemic, where green spaces have been absolutely vital for animal and human well-being. We've learned that governments need continuous encouragement and reminders to ensure funding for the conservation and expansion of these really important spaces. In the oral presentations and the OWSM sessions today, we learned that animals, both domestic and wildlife, have helped many people cope with the pandemic and its associated restrictions. But there's a strong need for systems to ensure the welfare needs of those animals are met and to protect the animals and the environment and the people from possible negative impacts of those relationships. We've heard so much in the last 2 days, really, about the working equids around the world, the silent helpers, as it were, who carry milk, food for livestock, firewood, coal, bricks, and even waste, and the urgent need to improve their welfare for the sake of the animals, the humans who depend on them, and the environments in which they live. We heard that while the human-animal bond is mutually beneficial if supported in the context of isolation and COVID restrictions, if it's not supported, it can have very negative impacts. We heard from Professor Pat Turner about the need to promote a culture of care built on attentiveness, responsibility, competence and responsiveness within and beyond animal research settings to ensure the harms of research are minimised and the benefits maximised. We need to ensure that alternatives to animal use are validated and implemented. We heard about the incredible work of the Black Mambas directly from Colette Nyobeni about the importance of empowering women in particular to tackle wildlife exploitation. In a patriarchal society, the Black Mambas are powerful female role models. The courage it takes you to go on those morning walks, Not knowing who or what you're going to find is a beacon to girls and women around the world. To advance the One Welfare agenda, we need soldiers like Colette on the ground, destroying snares and deterring poachers. We need people planting trees. We need educators teaching children about animal husbandry and environmental stewardship. But it's clear when we're talking about the preparedness for catastrophic fires or taking action to mitigate the impacts of the climate emergency or safeguarding our biodiversity, we need multi-agency collaboration and high-level support. But how do we get that? We need heroes who are willing to work on policy, to be active in their professional associations, to volunteer to sit on committees and working groups, including animal ethics committees, to read through, yes, what can be extremely dry and sometimes tedious discussion and consultation papers, to make submissions to sometimes seemingly endless consultations. We need heroes who, rather than being overwhelmed with the scale of change required, understand the small things that we do every day can edge us all closer to achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. It could be recycling, reducing food waste, participating in a clothing swap, or participating in some citizen science, maybe writing a letter to your MP, or volunteering at a community garden. Or it might be reducing your carbon footprint as you have by attending a conference virtually. We need all of those, you who are interested in One Welfare, to talk about it a lot, not just to each other, which is important, but also to those who don't know what it means, to embrace every conversation as a possibility to affect change, to utilize the skills you have used in creating some amazing presentations, even telling the story from the point of view of a bear, to explain how animal welfare, human well-being, and environmental sustainability are inextricably linked. Share the message on social media, definitely, but make sure that's not the end of it. Make sure that medium doesn't capture and hold your energy. If there's one message to take home from today, it's that we need to ensure our good intentions are converted into action. Now, on behalf of Dale and all members of the Scientific Committee, I really want to sincerely thank Dr. Rebecca Garcia-Pinillos for pulling this event together. As we each have learned, myself, Dale, and Rebecca now, pulling together a conference in an emerging discipline is really hard. But pulling it together during a global pandemic when you're a volunteer is next level. Rebecca, your contributions are outstanding. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I wish we could finish now and I could relax, but I also have many thanks to say, not just to you both for, well, excellent summaries, for the support, the remote support that you've provided, but there are many others that have contributed to this conference. And I would like very briefly to take the time to continue. I've included here two codes that you can scan or you will receive by email if you rather, for you to send your feedback, because we all have our own ideas, we have seen and we have lived the conference all in different ways. And something that is very important is to get feedback from everybody in the different countries across the world. We are all in different time zones, we are all in different realities, very different at times, and we are all interconnected in different ways. So for us, it's very important to get that feedback to ensure that we continue to build up brick by brick, grain of sand by grain of sand, building up the fortress of One Welfare or the castle or whatever is your imaginary ideal of something you want to build, to actually make sure that it improves. So I'll leave this there and I will continue, and I'm going to switch to Spanish if that's okay with everyone. So if you want to change with the translation, paso a dar las felicitaciones ya que la...
Inglés. I want to congratulate all my team. I want to congratulate all the sponsors, because without you, it wouldn't be possible to sponsor this conference. It is true that most of the work, it's a work that I do and I paid for it, but a conference as this conference is something beyond my scope. So your uninterested support was paramount to create this conference and to invite many people who didn't have the money to to come to the conference. So we really want to thank the sponsors for their support and the reduced fees for different types of countries with different types of income, which is very important. If we think about equity, these international events should reflect the differences among the different countries. And I'd like to thank our golden sponsors, MSD and Compassion and World Farming. MSD has financed our some of the workshops, and Compassion was supporting us to sponsor low and medium income countries with a lot of grants and aid. We have another sponsors, Silver and Bronze, with the support, audiovisual support, etc. of the conference. So I want to thank all of you for supporting an initiative that is emerging, as you know, and I hope that it can be more and more necessary in the future. I want to thank our collaborators. There are a lot of collaborators that have not been very present during the conference, but we want to thank the Association of Veterinaries Specialized in Food Safety. They have supported us in terms of public policies in Spain, also the College of Veterinarians in Burgos, which has been a very important association locally in Burgos. It's a pity not to be with Tomás, especially, who helped us building networks in Burgos. Also, the Spanish Embassy for the international connections and networks, and for their policy support, policy level support. Thank you, Rosana, for your time, for being here as a moderator. Assist Group is helping us with the communication in Spanish, in the Spanish language. We want to thank them because they were promoting our conference in Spanish. The Town Council of Burgos and the Office of Congresses of Burgos also supported us to have Burgos as an excellent headquarter in front of the Burgos Cathedral with a spectacular view, but it was there for us. The office was there for us. Then Tubal, which is an architecture study. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional again. I don't have time to say that I feel really thankful. I want to thank Tubal for the design, Kabi with the awards, and the oral sessions. Please apologize. Yeah, I apologize because I am finishing as I started crying. And then the university and with an excellent teacher of the veterinary medicine, who was a very important support to come along with this conference. And Forepost organization for supporting us with communications, alerting the media and the social media so that people know about our conference and the work that we are doing. Thank you very much for your support. And of course, I want to mention Miguel Ángel Remiro, the musician, author of a piece of music that you have listened to. You can have access to the whole piece. And Mariano, of course, Mariano was going to deliver a concert in presence physically in Burgos. It was going to be a flamenco show. But I want to thank him for their music, his guitar, his art, and the introduction of a very professional kind of music. It's traditional, but very professional, like rumbas, boleros, tangos, etc. You know that I really like tango. I really like this type of music, so it could be the perfect combination. Thank you, Mariano, for your music and your art. I want to thank the platform itself, the team, Goveris, who has been supporting us to create the web page and the whole streaming system that you have, Santiago and Enrique, who have worked very hard to combine all types of sessions, colors, animals, the different slides, presentations, and so on. Thank you for your work behind the camera, so to speak, which was very important to go on with the conference. And last but not least, our secretariat, the technical part that you may be familiar with, a technical secretariat who has supported us. Somos Eventos. Thank you, Pilar, because we heard the event with another organization which closed because of the pandemic. I apologize again. And it was very hard for me to know that, because we had to work extra overtime, and I'm sorry, I get emotional. And it was something that it was very difficult to start from scratch. I don't believe that the result was so good. I want to thank you for all your work and your braveness, for being very brave to create a new company and making our work easier. Thank you for believing in our concept, which was very important for us, because it had been very difficult to change the vision that I had in mind for this conference. Thank you. I knew I was going to cry in this part. I'm sorry, because we all have challenges, and this was my personal challenge, to really thank my family for all their unconditional support. We know that we have suffered social distancing measures during the pandemic. We were distant from our loved ones. And the truth is that we've been almost 2 years, 1 year and a half without seeing each other. I've seen my family on the screen, but even though the situation, I've received the support from my sister, supporting the design with different types of support and questions. I asked her many silly questions about animals and design. I asked her whether the design was pretty or not. And the truth is that they were very patient to give unconditional support and opinions about the graphs, the concept, and the visualization of the conference itself. You have my family there. And I want to thank them, because today is my father's birthday. And Daddy, happy birthday. Wow. So let's leave my emotions behind, but I want to thank my parents for the opportunity they've given to me, for the education that I have received, and the ethical values, which is also part of the essence of One Welfare concept. We've listened many of these aspects during the conference, the role of education, and the part that education, the role that it plays in our values. If I can contribute to something, I'm always there, and conferences as such are really important, not only for people like me. The thing is to share and spread the information with everybody. Moving on, I just want to show these pictures from my colleagues in Colombia. I've been traveled a lot, and one of the countries I visited the most is Colombia, with new projects related to the One Welfare concept. It is a concept, as you know, that got down deeply in the communities of the Latin American countries with initiatives such as One Health. And here you can see pictures of the conferences that we held, meetings that we had in Colombia, starting with my first visit to the training center for the armed police in Bogota, the police, where one welfare concept is very important for horses and riders in the police, because they are the police. So if you were part of the conference, you can see the connotations that this has. But now I'm going to give the floor to my colleagues from Colombia. And I want to warn you, if you want to go to Colombia, Marianelli is going to be in charge of next meetings. She is doing an effort to research in Colombia, creating one welfare research group, and has developed 2 PhD programs about one welfare issues. Now, I have to say that this is not just about one welfare, it's going to be about One Health, because One Health Colombia project developed and integrated with One Welfare Latin America. And there you can see the poster, the One Health conference poster. And I wanted to warn you, because if you have Colombia and we have my colleague, this is what happens when One Welfare and One Health unites. I just want to encourage you to go to Colombia and to meet everybody there. Now I'm going to have Marianela, because I want her to introduce the conference of Colombia. Marianela, you have the floor.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm also full of emotions right now. I think I mentioned it to you yesterday. This is an exciting moment. I'm very happy to be part of something together with everyone else today, to see how this dream has now a reality. And you've just made history, and we're here with you in this challenge, doing something that is meaningful. And we see how it is meaningful everywhere at different levels, but it has a significance, a huge relevance, in fact. For me, it's a huge honor and a reason makes me extremely happy to be able to invite you and to welcome you in a couple of years in Colombia, especially in a city as beautiful and spectacular and internationally well known as Cartagena de Indias. In Colombia, we have 7 different regions with different weathers. We have the coffee plantations, and from there you get that lovely coffee that you drink everywhere in the world. We have 2 oceans. We have a biodiversity incredible in every sense. It's the most diverse country in flowers. We sell #1 seller to the United States in the flower market. The amount of orchids and types of mammals, 35,000 types of insects, the butterflies, more than 1,000 types of birds. Well, it's a paradise for bird sighting lovers. And we also have a great amount of fruit, so you're going to enjoy your visit. I'm pretty sure of that. We have 10% of the wildlife in the planet, and it's a place where you can enjoy culture, art, music. We have enjoyed the Spanish music, but we're going to present to you the Caribbean music. You need to know how to dance, how to enjoy life the way we do. 18 different places that are part of the common world heritage. And the people from Colombia, we are kind, we love, more than love, we believe in a connection, in a bond between the animal welfare and the human well-being and the environment as well. For that reason, it's an honor to invite you all to be with us in Colombia, in the city of Cartagena de Indias. We have some images to show you, and I think they're ready. It's a short video for you to get you interested, a little bit more interested. So let's see if we can share this presentation.
Bien, entonces yo le estoy recibiendo.
So I'm going to get the torch from Rebecca now. It is our turn to face the challenge of creating a One Welfare conference. We will all be part of this journey. And here, you can see a photo of Cartagena with these amazing sunsets. For that reason, One Welfare will have this new World Conference in Cartagena. This is part of the landscape of our beautiful city, with the city walls, with the historical center, the Gethsemane, Bohemian borough in the city center, the beautiful coastal area, this amazing paradise for birds, closer to the city actually.
Pues entonces, todo lo que comprende una ciudad de carácter internacional.
It's an international oriented city, so you'll find anything you can find in any of the international big cities, culture, music, whatever you want. It has a rural past that has not forgotten, but you also have the universities, the academia, and we will all happily welcome you in the Colombian One Welfare Group. So this is our short video to give you a few spoilers of what you can see if you come. Colombia is a beautiful place to visit. Check-in in Colombia means welcome, and check-out means come back. There are smiles, open doors, and you can visit anywhere. You'll get music, rhythm. Well, there are more than 1,000 rhythms in our country. The amount of birds, species also welcome you with their beautiful colors. The whales will jump when they see you. Colombia is a place where people and cultures will enjoy welcoming your culture. You will be happy to be here. You'll dance of happiness. People will say hi to you from their beautiful balconies. And you can always say hi to those that have just crossed the ocean. You have the most beautiful rivers, full of colors as well. And you can find snow, a coastal area, and this beautiful view of the Andes with the amazing Amazonian forest, with the incredible sunsets, the Pacific Ocean that will make you fall in love, and this weather that is constantly changing everywhere you go. It's the most welcoming country in the world, so come to visit us. Well, this is just a spoiler for you, because we're going to offer you even more. Colombia is One Welfare, and we want you to experience Colombia in Cartagena de Indias in 2023. So thank you. You're welcome. We're waiting for you here, open arms. So whenever you're ready, we're here for you. Thank you, Marianelli. And without further ado, goodbye. It has been great to see you. See you soon.